What's up? Hope everybody's doing good. Been a little while since I saw you last time. But yeah, back here, back out in the woods. It's a nice day. It's not as cold as it was last time. Back with another video. I'm about to show you some more what I think is some cool guitar lessons. You know, stuff that I learned when I was more serious about studying the guitar. But you know what? Now that I'm showing other people how to do these things and teaching them the stuff that I know, it's making me get back into it and start studying more seriously again. All right. So what I wanted to show you today is I feel like something that I always wanted to really know how to do when I was first learning guitar was how to improvise and how to be able to just play all over the neck. And you know, like I'm with the band and they start playing, they start jamming on some chord progression, some type of groove. I wanted to know, like, yo, how can I just jump into that and play with them? And then I worked with my teacher, who he showed me a lot of the stuff that I'm about to show you. He showed me a lot of certain techniques that help you play, that can help you improvise and help you find your way around the neck and help you use them as guideposts to let you know where you're at. You know, and then I put those things I learned into practice. Like, went to some open up mic blues jams. I wrote some music with my band that I was in, and I just kept practicing at it and slowly started getting a little bit better over time on how to improvise, until I felt like I could kind of hold my own with a band. Like, as long as it wasn't some like super complicated jazz shit, then yeah, I felt like, you know, I could do all right improvising with the band. But you know, it's all a constant process. That's part of the fun, that you can always get a little bit better. You can always perfect your craft a little bit, and that's what I'm doing, and that's what I want to share with you. I want to, you know, help you guys get better at on whatever your guitar journey is, wherever you are in that stage of the journey, which that looks different for everyone. But okay, so there are 5 scale shapes that I wanted to show you that you can use to help you play in the correct key. There are 5 boxes, if you want to call them that, 5 boxes of fingerings that you can memorize, and they all connect to each other, and they just cycle through each other. So once you're let's say I'm playing in G, we'll use G as an example for this video. You know, I'm playing in G at this first, oops. You know, and then this is like that first position, and then I shift to the next one, and then shift to the next one. To the next one. Yeah, so I was actually using different scale shapes. It wasn't just like one big shape on the whole neck. It was like 5 different ones, and I was just connecting them, figuring out where they all connect, so that way I can slide between each individual shape, break the whole thing down into 5 different shapes, figure out how they connect, and so I can slide between them. All right, and then also these 5 different shapes relate to the 7 different modes. If y'all know what modes are, I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. I'll show you the first shape. Oh yeah, also in the description I'm gonna put a link to a PDF where I drew the fingering for each scale shape. Just did like a little chart But yeah, let's start in the key of G. So if I start with my second finger on the key of G, go to G, and then pinky on A, first finger on B, second finger on C, pinky on D, first finger on E, third finger on F sharp, pinky on G, first finger on A, third finger on B, pinky on C, second finger on D, pinky on E, first finger on F sharp, second finger on G, pinky on A. Fuck, my bad. So that's the first shape. Yeah, so if you're starting on the low E string, then this form starts on the root note of the major scale. But then we have the next shape here, which this next shape, it starts on when you're starting on the low E, it starts on the second note in the major scale. So, and it goes like this. There's the root right there. So we're in the key of G. Oh, it's out of tune. This is the first, back to the first shape. Because this second one, the second shape starts on the second note of the major scale. So it kind of has like a minor sound. And that relates to the modes, which we'll get into in a little bit. But still, we're in key of G. For this one, you kind of got to shift position a little bit. Like, so, you know, playing in G right now. Right now, like when you're on the A string, the first finger is on the 5th fret, and then third finger goes to the 7th fret. But then you shift your position when you get to the D string, because then your first finger goes to the 4th fret, and then when you move to the G string, you stay in that position. First finger still goes to the 4th fret. And then when you go to the B, you shift back to the other position where your first finger is at the 5th fret. Shift again. So you see my first finger is on the 5th fret, and then I move my pinky to the 7th fret so that I can shift my position. And just so you know, in classical guitar, what's referred to as position is generally where the first finger is where kind of the first finger is like situated at, where its home is for the time being. So like right here, on this last part of the scale, on the B and E strings, my first finger is on the 5th fret. So that would mean I'm in 5th position. Because whatever number position you're in, that's what fret your first finger is on. So right now, 5th position, but then shift to 4th position on these two strings, and then shift back to 5th position because my first finger is going back to the 5th fret on this part of the scale, and then end on 5th position. If you in classical music, in classical sheet music for guitar, the finger positioning is denoted by Roman numerals. Yeah, there are usually going to be Roman numerals, which that's going to mean what position your left hand is in. All right, still in G. So now we got this second shape. But now let's shift our position to the 7th position, put our first finger a whole step up so we can get to the 3rd scale shape. So it starts with a half step. So the third scale shape starts on the 3rd note of the major scale. So in this case B, because we're in the root note is G. Notice how this scale shape does not have any position shifting. My first finger is always at the 7th fret. Okay, and there technically are 5, but the thing is at the 4th position, and I'll tell more about this when we get to the modes. The 4th position is the same as the 3rd one, like the fingering is the same. The difference is it just starts on a different note. It starts on C. The 4th position starts on the 4th note of the major scale. You might be sensing a pattern here. Okay. We got the root note right there. And here. I think the reason why these have the same scale shape is because it's just a half step difference. So you're basically in the same position regardless, because only half step between B and C. And so the 5th position, you also start with the 2nd finger. Start with the 2nd finger. Start on D. 5th position starts on 5th note of the scale, baby. Okay, we're at B right now, and then we want to get to C. So what we're gonna do is not quite switch position, but reach our first finger over to C. And it's not really switching position because we need to get our 2nd finger a whole step up to D. So it's kind of just reaching the first finger over and then bringing your first finger back to this position so that you can reach the D note with the 2nd finger. And then you can reach the E with your pinky. So it's 3 whole steps in a row. Whatever you do on the high E, you can do on the low E, and vice versa. So you're gonna do those 3 whole steps in a row, and then reach the first finger to reach the C note. Always reaching for that C note, you know? Damn, this shit's out of tune. Now, moving to the next position. We're all the way at the 12th fret now. We at the 6th note of the major scale is what we're starting on. Root note. this one does have one position switch. And then, whoop, first finger moves. And then you switch position again back to the original position we were at, 12th position. First finger at the 12th fret. First finger at the 12th fret. So I want you to learn those positions. And then once you learn them, you can learn to connect them, because they all continue from each other. All these scale shapes overlap, and that's how they're continuous with one another. See, I can even shift in the middle of this scale. And then I'm in the second position. Oh shit, I want to shift again. So now I'm in the 3rd/4th scale shape. Okay, and I'm on the G string. Oh shit, I want to shift right now. So now I have to shift again if I want to go into the 5th position. 5th scale shape. Well, technically 4th, because remember what I said before, that these two are actually kind of the same. These two are the same actual shape, but they have two different starting positions. You can start on the B, or you can start on the C. So, I'm just still jamming in G. Oh, I want to shift again. So now I'm gonna shift to the last scale shape that we learned. I want to go back down, shift back to the other position below it. Shift down again. Shift down again. Shift down again to where we started. So do you understand the idea? I think it's somewhat simple. And you can always refer to the little diagram that I drew. And I want to talk a little bit about what are called the modes. Modes are basically, it's kind of like, they're kind of like different scales, but not really, because they use the same notes as the major scale. The only difference is your starting point. Yeah, I'm realizing now it's kind of a lot to get into with the modes. I might have to make another video about it, but I'll start you off with it. So basically, each of these scale shapes is associated with a certain mode. Because you remember how I was saying, like, the first scale shape starts on the first note of the major scale. The second scale shape starts on the second note of the major scale. Yeah, each of those shapes also corresponds to a mode. Because, yeah, I'm starting on G right now. The starting note of this shape is G. It's just like purely a G major scale. And then if I move to the second position, so that right there, it's the second position. It still has the same notes as the G major scale. You could still use that shape to play in the key of G if you want to move around the neck. But you can also use this shape, the second scale shape, if you want to play in what is called the Dorian mode, because a mode is just using the major scale but a different starting note, and that gives it a different type of flavor. So if I start on A right here, but I use the second scale shape position, then this has all the notes of the G scale, but it starts on A. So what that means is it's basically like me playing an A minor scale. But what's the difference between the key of A minor and the key of G major? It's one note. G major has an F sharp. The key of A minor has an F natural. So if I start on this second scale shape, then I am basically playing an A minor scale with an F sharp in it, and that gives you just a different type of sound, and it's used in a lot of different type of genres, like mainly jazz, blues, funk, genres of that similar family. See, yeah, now I changed it, so I made the A sound like the root note. And same goes all the way with the other shapes too, but I'm realizing that this video is getting a little long, and I'm just now thinking there's actually kind of a lot to talk about with the modes. So I'll just leave it there for you. Damn, no, God, there's one more thing I want to talk about. One more thing. Each of these shapes, each of these diatonic scale shapes, they're called the diatonic because they have all 7 notes in them. Each of them has a corresponding pentatonic shape, which is 5 notes in them. And for example, we have this one right here, the one I just showed you in the beginning. This has a corresponding pentatonic scale shape, which means a scale with only 5 out of the 7 notes of the entire scale. The corresponding shape for this one would be like this. So actually I'm not gonna go over all of them. I might in the next video, but it's not too hard to figure out, because just remember that the pentatonic scale has it has the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7 of the diatonic scale. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. So that's only 5 notes. So in the case of G, that would only be G, A, B, D, and E. G, A, B, D, E. So just remove the 4 and the 6 from the diatonic scale, and you got the pentatonic. Good luck. I wish you the best. I'll see you next time.